It's raining, and you're on the bus. Your headphones are in, the right song fades up as the city blurs past the glass, and for 30 seconds, your life stops being a list of errands and becomes a scene. You're the lead. The camera is on you. Then the bus stops. You snap out of it, and a tiny, embarrassed voice in your head labels the moment a bit dramatic. Consider the possibility that this internal voice has the situation completely backwards. That brief cinematic drama might actually be the most honest thing your brain does all day. Around 2020, the internet gave this feeling a soundtrack and a filter, calling it main character energy. People started posting videos of themselves, romanticizing their morning coffee, narrating a walk to the train, and treating an ordinary Tuesday like an opening montage. The societal reaction was almost immediate, with many viewing the behavior as an exercise in vanity or a modern, self-obsessed internet flaw. Beneath the phone screens and filters lies an ancient survival tool that was running in our heads long before anyone gave it a hashtag. To understand why we do this, we have to look closely at how the mind actually structures identity. Psychologists have a specific name for this mechanism: narrative identity. It's a concept developed over decades by a researcher named Dan McAdams. His work shows that you don't actually know who you are as a list of traits or as raw data stored on a hard drive. Instead, the brain takes the absolute chaos of life and forces it into a plotted story. The breakup, the move, your identity is stored in chapters. Because every story requires a protagonist, you are unavoidably cast as the lead. Staring out a rain-streaked window and feeling cinematic represents the baseline operating system of self-awareness. This narrative is rarely a neutral record. The brain often edits the facts specifically to make the protagonist look better. In the late 1980s, two psychologists named Shelley Taylor and Jonathan Brown published a famous piece of research titled Illusion and Well-Being. Looking at this visual spectrum, people viewing themselves with perfect accuracy lean toward mild depression. Healthier minds sit on the rose-colored side. They hold three functional delusions: believing they're kinder, their future is brighter, and feeling more control over events. Modern clinical experts endorse this mechanism. Stepping into a braver, highly capable version of yourself serves as a tool to push through a tough run or project confidence in a difficult job interview. A slightly diluted lens provides the psychological armor necessary to keep moving forward. While casting yourself as the protagonist happens automatically, you retain authorship over the genre of your internal film. Researchers noticed that two people can survive the exact same difficult year, a divorce, a harsh winter, a lost job, and tell completely different stories. One tells a contamination story, where good slides into bad. The other tells a redemption story, where suffering gets turned into growth. The people who habitually frame themselves as the active drivers of a comeback score significantly higher on metrics of maturity and everyday happiness. Main character energy yields benefits when the story moves the plot forward, rather than narrating a tragic defeat. A hidden trap exists within the feeling of being the lead, the subconscious assumption that you have an audience. To test exactly how deep this assumption goes, psychologists at Cornell University ran an experiment in the year 2000. They had a college student put on an embarrassing t-shirt featuring a giant picture of Barry Manilow and sent them into a crowded room. Afterward, the student predicted that at least half the room had judged them. When researchers checked with the crowd, the real number was a tiny fraction of that. Most people hadn't noticed at all. This is known as the spotlight effect. Because we literally cannot step outside our own perspective, we dramatically overestimate how much people around us notice our mistakes, our hair, or our clothes. The stage you feel you are performing on is completely real to you and mathematically invisible to almost everyone else. This gap in perception causes many people to stop living the scene and start performing for an audience that isn't there. In this trap, you might constantly try on new personas to please an imaginary crowd. A friend opens up about something painful, and within a minute, the conversation becomes a story about your own reaction to the problem. This is the core toxicity of main character syndrome. It becomes dangerous the moment it demotes the complex, breathing people in your life into background props for your scene. Healthy resilience requires remembering that every person walking past you is the deeply involved, highly anxious lead of their own vivid story. To keep the psychological gift and drop the trap, Psychologists offer a simple test. Would you still make this choice, wear this outfit, or take this walk if absolutely no one was watching? The second test requires flipping the script. In any given moment, ask yourself how you fit into other people's stories as a supporting character. Are you the loyal friend who showed up, or the person who made their birthday about a photo? Romanticizing your moments utilizes the oldest trick the mind has for finding meaning in random days. Score your commute to the right music. The healthiest version of this energy allows you to enjoy your own lead role while ensuring everyone around you gets to enjoy theirs.